A South Australian researcher says that menstrual cycles may be contributing to a crisis of knee injuries in female footballers. 37 women are missing from the FIFA World Cup due to ACL injuries, and women are cited as being significantly higher risk than men.
An ACL injury suffered in April robbed Leah Williamson of the opportunity to lead England at the FIFA World Cup in Australia. 37 players have missed the tournament with the same issue, enough for an entire squad, and it's creating anxiety among players.
If you ever needed a wake-up call, I'd say this year with the ACLs is if nobody wakes up now, then we've got a bit of a problem.
The anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, may be a small band of tissue, but tearing it can mean an extended period on the sidelines.
It helps with rotation within the knee and keeping that stable. So if you're doing straight line sports, it doesn't function as much. But if you're in a change of direction sport like tennis, soccer or football, where acutely change direction, the ACL acts and is a really important stabiliser of the knee.
The epidemic is not isolated to football. According to Yale Medicine, female athletes are 2 to 8 times more likely to suffer an ACL injury than men. Adelaide Crows premiership player Mariana Racic suffered 3 ACL injuries across her career in the A-League and AFLW, 2 just 24 months apart.
And I reckon that was probably the hardest one, because I had just gone through the process, I had just gotten back to playing, and I finally felt like it took me a good 10 months to kind of get back to the player I was, and then I redid it, so I kind of went through that heartache again.
There is no definitive answer to why female athletes are at higher risk of an ACL rupture, but Dr Buckley says anatomy, control around the knee and even the menstrual cycle could be contributing factors.
If you think about pregnancy, around the time of pregnancy and late pregnancy, there's a big spike in your estrogen, and that spike in your estrogen is so that your ligaments become more lax to allow the baby to move through the birth canal, to open up those spaces. And the analogy of our thinking is if there's that estrogen spike halfway through their cycle, then that's going to lead to a similar kind of increased laxity or lengthening of the ligament and potentially making it vulnerable to rupture around that time.
AFL Players Association head of AFLW, Julia Chiera, says it'll be a team effort between the AFL, clubs and researchers to help mitigate future risk.
A lot has changed in this space over the last few years, coming out of our advocacy and from players speaking up, but we've still got a long way to go in terms of the medical care provided for AFLW players.
AFLW players are still considered part-time athletes, with many juggling full-time work and study off the field. As negotiations surrounding the CBA continue, the AFL Players Association is calling for full-time investment in the women's game, which they say could prevent fatigue and in turn future injury.
Right now they're only in club for 6 months of the year and then they come out of that system. So any footy fan could tell you that that's not an appropriate way to keep your body at a really good level of muscle mass and endurance and all that.
Jennifer Limeage from Haiti is the first player to go down with an ACL injury this World Cup, and research suggests she won't be the last. Monique van der Hayden, Sky News.